Welcome back, folks. Here at something copious, something capacious, something Cajunga, we strive to make good quality episodes. Strive to be consistent in the things we talk about and how we talk about them, I think. But today we're going to go off script a little bit. We're going to do something different, more reminiscent of our welcome back episode. Chris and I are just kind of going to go over some of the feelings of the day between he and I, and we'd like you to come along for the ride. Feel free to comment. Feel free to offer whatever your thoughts are, because these questions are for you. They're not just for us. But I've been thinking a lot lately. I've had a lot of cause to do some introspection, to do some reflection, do a little soul searching, and ask some questions of myself that maybe I wouldn't normally.
Fair. Okay.
Or maybe I ask them all the time, and this is just Thursday. Oh well, it's 5:30 in the afternoon. How tired are you right now? And that's really what I've felt over the past week and a half, and maybe a little longer. Whatever the actual day count is, I don't know. We're a few days away from Thanksgiving, and the holidays are upon us. The days are shorter. The nights are colder.
Yeah, the daylight savings thing is killing me right now.
Winter season is the busiest time of the year for shrinks. I can't. There's a real thing to holiday blues.
If I remember correctly, suicide rates are at their highest between Christmas and New Year's Eve, or New Year's. That's the week for the most suicides in the whole year.
That's frightening.
It is. It's a depressing time for some people. It's not always easy.
Well, I don't know what it is about the holidays. It's supposed to be a time of cheer, and yet there is a misery that seems to set in, almost like a cold winter chill.
I think it's got something to do with being in the house so much in comparison to how much time we spend outside in the summer and get a little bit of that. Was it vitamin C that you get?
Summer sun.
Vitamin D you get from the sun.
How much of it is you think maybe the pressure to make the holidays crazy special and to do all these things that maybe you don't have the resources for, and you start feeling maybe like a failure as a spouse or as a parent, or it's just
Right.
like I can't afford to do blah 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 yada.
Right.
And you can't bear that look of disappointment in people's faces that you didn't pull off that miracle on 34th Street.
Right. Yeah. I definitely can't say I'm a stranger to that emotion myself. Had a few Christmases that's hit me differently than others have. So
Times are tough in 25.
inflation is crazy right now.
Doesn't seem like we've been getting a lot of the breaks that we were promised, a lot of the saving grace that we were promised, that we were going to turn this whole thing around and people were going to be able to start having lives again, having lives we could all be proud of.
Right. I think we're past that. I don't think there's any way to get back to that now.
Well, it's all empty promises. But I digress. This is kind of funny. I've gotten my mother to watch our show. Even she, I don't know that she has subscribed, but she has at least started watching it.
Hey, Ma. Shout out.
Hey, Ma, I made it. There is a story that she wants me to tell, and it is a good story, but she thought it would be neat if I shared this. So for her, I am going to tell a story about my grandmother and my relationship with that, not that particular figure, but with the character of Superman. Okay, so here it goes. When I was, and I don't have all the exact details, mind you, because I was anywhere between 4 and 7, and
Okay.
that's a few hours of sleep ago at the very least. That's a lot of time ago for me to remember what the iron details are.
That's fair.
But my grandmother, my grandparents used to babysit us when we were real little kids while my parents were at work. And I think as the story goes that I was in my grandmother's care and she was looking for something to do with me. And my mother recommended, for whatever reason it was of hers, for my grandmother to take me to the comic book store over there and over there in the plaza.
Bob's.
It is Bob's. Bob does not work there anymore. Bob hasn't worked there in forever. The guy behind the counter's name is Trent, and he has just kept the store's name the way it is, because why change that association when it's just always been that?
That's like Dave's video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, my summarization is, my recollection is that she recommended my grandmother take me there just to, I don't know, to look around or to see if that might have made some,
Was this your first time going?
I believe so,
Okay.
that it might have made some connection that, I might find something I like. And anyway, as most young children do, as most old children have, I made a connection to Superman, and I made enough of a connection that eventually, even at that age, I understood that my grandmother loved to sew. And at least at the time, at Walmart, they sold those. Well, here is all the material to make this sewing pattern or design or whatever with, in these little packs.
Okay.
And one of those sewing packages was the Superman costume, soup to nuts. And and they had them in all sizes, and so they found one that was in my
Range.
my range at the time.
Yeah.
And begrudgingly, reluctantly, almost against her will, she did not want to sew this costume for me. She did not want to, by any stretch. But because I begged, because I pleaded, because I did no small amount of screaming and raging and crying for her to make it for me. Eventually she did. Once Chris and I figure out how to get visuals on these episodes, we'll have more visuals for you guys to look at. And it is coming. We're still trying to put all this together. We're only a few episodes in, and you got to build this show one piece at a time, given resources, given finances, given everyday life. But we'll get there. Just be patient, hang in there. At one point I will put the pictures of me in this costume up for you guys to look at. And I was just cute as a button.
I look forward to seeing these.
It's adorable. You can just see me like with my arms outstretched, just flying all over, trying to fly all over her front yard.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that I wasn't making zoom, zoom, zoom noises, or something.
Right.
But so she made this costume for me, and I wore it all the time. And because my father is Superman, I started pitching for her to sew one for him too. And and he's probably over my shoulder. No, no, Martha, no, something like that. But she never made him one, and I doubt he would have worn it anyway. Not because he doesn't love me, but just because it wasn't his thing.
Fair.
But and I wore it until I wore holes in it because it was just getting too small.
Right.
And I don't know whatever happened to it. I'd hate to think that I would have so callously just thrown it in the trash, but I have no other way of no other rationalization of what would have ended up coming of it because I don't still have it anywhere.
Well, I'm sure with enough holes in it, Mom seen that and was like, well, this is probably done for.
And there was no stitching it back together. Grandma was not going to take that sewing project back on.
You got what you got. That was it.
She was not going to pull out the pockets or anything like that and make it bigger so that I could keep wearing it.
Right.
Whatever the sewing term is, letting it out. But I had it for a long time, and I had it for a long time after it stopped. It no longer fit, but I think at one point it made its way into the trash bucket, and it's probably lying in the landfill somewhere. But it was dear to me. It was dear to me for a very long time, and I loved her then for making it for me. Although I didn't understand how much she did not want to, but that's what she did for all of us. All of her grandchildren was do for them and try to facilitate all of our wild dreams and our wacky adventures as best she and my grandpa could.
Oh, sure.
We didn't much see eye to eye there in her golden years when she started being bitter and resentful maybe. And
Did she struggle with like dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that before she passed?
not really, no.
No.
She didn't struggle with that stuff too much. At least if she did, it was right there at the end, like right as it was clear that she didn't have much time left. But
Okay.
she didn't really struggle for recall or recognizing people that came to see her. Now my not her husband, my grandpa, but my other grandpa, he struggled with that.
Okay.
And I think that was because like as he was passing away, he actually died from toxic encephalopathy, which is, at least in his case, was a buildup of ammonia on the brain.
Whoa.
Yeah, because there at the end, he was trying to get out from underneath of this house. And so he was trying to get it in condition to be sold. And he was constantly running around with all kinds of, cleaning products and just wiping walls down or whatever. And, he's not wearing gloves, and he was 80 some odd years old at the time. So he was just absorbing all those chemicals
Straight through the skin.
And all that ammonia was going up into his brain, and it was creating a lot of confusion and a lot of fog, and
Wow.
it kind of got nasty in a way.
Yeah.
Because he started to get bitter, and maybe that's an age thing. I hope it's not just an age thing. I'd like to think there are people out there who are in their twilight years who are relatively happy, and who are relatively happy to be happy.
I'm sure it's a very divided section, but yeah, I mean, there's got to be a little bit on both sides.
I don't know, but I'll tell you the story because I still think about it from time to time, and that there's no resolving it now. But I had to move back home from Indy, and even when I did, I was working in Indy, and then I was commuting.
Right.
And I came home, and I was on third shift, so I came home in the morning, and as soon as I got home, Pops is like, well, I'm about to go out the door to have breakfast with my grandpa, his father. And he'd be like, well, I'm about to go have breakfast with Grandpa. Do you want to go? Yeah. And that became our thing for a good long while, was the three of us would go have breakfast together.
Right.
And I think that started because they used to go out and go car shopping a lot. And they'd be like, well, we're getting ready to go out. Do you want to have breakfast before we eat? So they started having breakfast.
Okay.
And then I joined in, and the three of us had breakfast. And it's not like we invented having breakfast. Don't let that be the misconception here. But it was just a thing that we eventually started doing, which we hadn't always managed to do.
Right.
And then for a time we observed it as our tradition. But anyway, in this bracket of time, my birthday and Christmas are real close to each other. And in this bracket of time, my birthday and Christmas fell. And so as the conversation almost always was, when Daddy and I would get here to pick Grandpa up for breakfast, he'd get in the car. Oh, hello, Stephen. How you doing? I'm fine, Grandpa. How are you? And he'd want to know about whether I'd met any girls or just idle conversation like that. And I don't know what it was on his mind, because he never seemed to have a problem with it before. But in this time, I was 28, turning 29 for that birthday.
Okay.
And so he gets in the car. Hi, Stephen. How you doing? I'm fine, Grandpa. How are you? What's going on? Oh, I'm getting ready for Thursday, or whatever day it was that year that my birthday fell on, and he doesn't make the connection. It's not just on instant what the significance of that day was going to be. And he's like, well, why are you getting excited for that day? You got a date or something? Is it payday? And I'm like, no, that's my birthday, Grandpa. And he just looks at me and he's like, aren't you getting a little old to be celebrating your birthday? I was like, ow. That wasn't cool. But I let it go, and we tried to have a normal. I tried to make sure that we had a normal breakfast anyway, even though I was moderately annoyed. Well, you flash forward about a week and some change. Get home, get in the car, come here, pick him up for breakfast. Hi, Stephen. How are you? Morning, Grandpa. How are you? I'm fine. Got a date this weekend or anything like that? No, I'm just getting ready for Wednesday like everybody else is. And well, what's going on Wednesday? Do you get paid or something like that? Wednesday's Christmas, Grandpa. Aren't you getting a little old to be celebrating Christmas? And
He was tired of buying you stuff.
All he ever did was write checks.
Yeah.
He wrote checks. He just gave people money for Christmas. He did not go to the store and buy things that were on lists.
Yeah. That's up to you.
And make no mistake, I love my grandfather, but damn. Just because you're almost 90 and you think that at some point in life you need to stop celebrating things. At 29, I was not of that disposition.
Right.
I thought I still had time, and I thought I still had joy to look forward to. And it was a lesson that it was something that I picked up watching an episode of Charmed, where the sisters meet a ghost, and one of them falls in love with a ghost of a guy who's just recently been murdered. And anyway, one of the sisters, Prue, I think, is getting ready to celebrate a birthday, and she's not excited about it. She doesn't believe birthdays matter. and imparting a little bit of, hey, I'm on the other side wisdom. He's like, celebrate your birthday, celebrate them all,
Right.
because they do matter.
Made,
And
made it a whole nother year, and some people didn't.
I mean, you never know when you're gonna last one is gonna be, and I don't want to make a big picture out of any day could be your last, so you got to live every day like The Rock. But
Right.
I
There's some validity behind that.
there's some, but I even if that is not why, I still want to celebrate my birthday.
Right.
I still want to celebrate whatever holiday it is I feel like observing. I still get excited at Christmas.
Same.
What's under the tree for me this year? I don't know. That was a little cheese, but something like that.
Right.
I get giddy. I get excited. My uncle had a tradition with us Christmas morning where when we got up, because all the presents were just under the tree,
Okay.
willy nilly, just under the tree, and his tradition with us was after we had breakfast to go in and start pulling presents from under the tree and sort them out, piled person, pile.
Right.
And about the time my nephews started showing up, I took that tradition to them. And we would every Christmas morning, we would, after breakfast, we would all go into the living room, person, pile. And that, it's not a big tradition, but it was something
Right.
that was done, with me by my uncles, and I wanted to take that to my nephews.
Fair.
And that's something that I always look forward to every year. Well, one means or another, one reason or another, we've kind of simplified the project in recent years, and everybody's bags of presents, everybody's piles are already put together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, shit. I kind of wanted to. That was my thing, and it was my thing that was done for me, and it was my thing that I passed on to them, and and in some ways it's like I lost that, and I was holding it so tight and close,
Right.
and I lost it, and I have no idea where it went, and I have no idea why it's gone, but it seems like it's gone. And so that is one of the things that we're going to kind of talk about today is, we want to sit down and I want to talk about feelings, and I want to talk about why they matter, kind of maybe get, ask some questions about why they guide what we do, for good, bad, or otherwise. I don't believe you should be ruled by your feelings, but I also don't believe that you can entirely discount them,
Right.
like they don't matter. And let's call it a product of getting older. I mean, in less than 3 weeks, I'll be 40.
Damn.
And granted, my mother-in-law is several years older than me, and my folks are several years older than her. Nevertheless, my kids endlessly bust my tail about being, in their eyes, the oldest person they know. Like, you would have thought that I was here before the dinosaurs, for how old they make fun of me for being.
Well, I mean, you were born in the 19s, weren't you?
I might as well be one of the dinosaurs. That's about how fast I'm moving anymore. I feel like I need to have that second, like it wasn't necessarily a brain, but as far as I understand what scientists have said recently, dinosaurs were so big they had to have what was essentially a second brain in the middle of their back because they were so massive.
Almost like a relay for the information to
Yes,
process.
and their brains were so small that scientists are saying that there was no way that that this tiny little brain inside their body was capable of moving such mass. So there was like a second brain in the middle of their spine or somewhere along the way that was doing part of this work.
That's so interesting. I've never heard that before.
And maybe I'm confusing the details a little bit. I don't expressly remember what the article I read had said on the matter, because I've also read somewhere that they think dinosaurs could not be as big as we imagine them to be because they would have been crushed under their own weight. Like they were so massive that there would have been no way for them to actually move around and exist because they would have been crushed by their own weight.
Don't we have like skeletons of them to prove that they were huge?
Yeah, and that's why. But they still say that it's not a perfect science. There is still we're only guessing we're guessing so much of the science,
right,
even today. Like we can't say 100 to 100. Oh well, this is what a dinosaur looked like exactly.
Right.
So much of it is still
unknown
and guesswork.
Okay.
And I will admit that outside of Turok, I'm not a big dinosaur guy anyway. Like it's just
not in Jurassic Park.
It was not the thing for me that it is for other people.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, I enjoy it on a very basic level.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
All right.
I rock me some Godzilla, but I don't rock Godzilla because it is about a giant prehistoric monster. It's a prehistoric monster action movie.
It's the story behind it. Yeah.
I enjoy it on a cerebral level. It's like watching the Transformers movies. I'm not going there for the plot. I'm going there to watch giant robots rip each other apart.
Okay.
Dark of the Moon is a terrifying example of that, because that movie is, but the action pieces are cool. And at the time, well, she's not in Dark of the Moon, but at the time, I thought Megan Fox was probably the hottest thing I'd ever seen. Back in 2007, when she first popped up on my radar in Transformers, I was a fan. I was a big fan.
Absolutely. Who wasn't?
I could. Maybe we need to talk about Michael Bay in a whole other video. And keep us honest, because Chris and I were talking about this recently, of all the things that we said that we had to talk about in a later video.
Or at least managed to touch on.
Yeah, and somehow along the way we might not have touched on that yet. And it doesn't mean that we won't, it just means that life is happening and we forgot that we said we wanted to talk about that.
Maybe we'll just have a makeup episode with like 27 random facts we throw in there from all the episodes before.
So if we've missed something, if we throw out one of those, we'll have to talk about that later, and it's something you're ready for us to talk about. Hit them comments so that we know what we're doing well and where we might need to improve and what you might want us to review.
We're all about feedback.
Yep. Trying to do this thing right, do it professionally, but today we're going to do an improv episode. We're going to kind of work some things out. We're going to review life today.
That's right.
Because life right now feels kind of hard, and anybody that was a part of the channel back in its early days. Second episode in the Impressions of 40 episode. I'm starting to feel them feelings again, and I'm edging closer. And depending on your definition, edging can be fun, but right now it's that's the sound of the police. And right now it's I don't know. So today we're talking about feelings. And lately I have felt tired. How have you felt?
Same. Tired. Always something to do on the checklist. Always somewhere to be.
There's no time to just.
Not enough time. Not enough money.
That's the ace kicker. There's not enough money.
It's the double entendre of life, isn't it?
We got to get this channel going. Like we got to get this thing where Joe Rogan, here we come. All right. But and not forget. I mean, don't forget it, but emotionally tired and physically tired and obviously financially retired. But I am so drained. I feel like my legs barely have the ability to carry my body.
Feeling like a dinosaur, huh?
Where's my second brain at? Because it's falling asleep. Or God forbid something else. I don't know. I'm a little tired today, so the jokes are probably just not going to be there. Just right on. Just give me some time. I got to do a little bit of a reset myself. But I spend most of my work day on a forklift because I've been doing forklift work for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Meyer, Pepsi, Nestle, can pack, and I drive forklifts all day. So I'm looking for opportunities to get off and walk because like I'm tired of sitting on a forklift and I need to stretch my legs. Well, as soon as I get off the forklift, my legs turn to jelly. And I'm a baby giraffe and I'm learning how to walk for the first time.
Just legs shaking like Bambi and everything.
Yeah, man. I don't get it. And I mean, I guess you could argue that I don't try to get a lot of independent exercise.
Right.
Like I'm not just hitting the gym every third day or whatever.
Maybe you should stretch in the mornings.
They tell you to stretch. Like I mean, there's all kinds of
pre-work things you can do to help you alleviate some of those worries or issues.
Yeah, I would suppose so.
Yeah.
That people have been saying forever, stretch.
Yeah.
Stretch.
It's big warehouse safety talk right there, stretching.
I feel stretched. I'm gonna borrow from Lord of the Rings here. I feel like butter across too much bread. I feel spread thin.
Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring, Bilbo Baggins. Great scene. I was surprised that Ian Holm. I was surprised that he's been gone as long as he has. I looked that scene up one time not too long ago, and I was like, I wonder if Ian Holm is still around. And I believe he passed away in 2020, and it was like while COVID was going on, and somehow it just slipped under the radar while the whole rest of the world was busy with shit.
Yeah.
And so, I missed that one. And then it's like, well, how did I miss that? Because I feel like that would have
stuck out or something.
That would have pinged my radar.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, you feel tired most of the time. And because you feel tired, maybe you're tired because you're not sleeping well. And You're not sleeping well because so many things are keeping you up at night.
Preach.
Whether it's worries about, whether it's worries about money or your relationships, whoever they're with, or just the state of the world in general. You just spend all night trying to cradle yourself to sleep. Just hug and love yourself to sleep. And maybe you get 4.5, 5 hours. But is it good sleep? Is it like 5 hours of just deep REM sleep? And maybe it's not. Maybe you toss and turn all night. Maybe you just wake up 5 times because the nightmares are right there.
Right.
And so you're just and that next day you are that far behind the 8 ball. You are that less prepared to take on whatever that next day is getting ready to throw at you, and you're fused. Your attention span, your ability to deal is just on this meter that's constantly doing one of these, and the next day you're just doing one of these.
It's almost like an hourglass just running out of sand.
You're running out of time. You're running out of sand, and time is the currency.
Yeah.
And I know this. We really got to get Skylar on the channel. I don't know what day we're going to work it out, but we got to get our friend Skylar on the channel. He and I had a little bit of a conversation about this because life happens, right?
Absolutely.
Life happens to you. Life happens to me, and I struggle to find a pocket of time for all the things that I need to offer my time to, let alone the people I want to give my time to.
Right.
And I had not been out to the video store in, I don't know, a couple of weeks, which is not necessarily completely unheard of, but even in times where I went over there to see him, I was struggling to thread that needle.
Right.
And be there at a time he was there because his schedule has changed a little bit. And anyway, it's a long-winded way of saying that eventually it bothered me. And I texted him and I was like, hey, dude, I'm real sorry I haven't been able to make it over there to see you. I think a lot of our friendship. I hope he does too. And it's like, man, I should be making time to do this.
Right.
I should be finding time for my friend who means a great deal to me and offers me a lot of support.
Absolutely.
And I felt like a heel, so I texted him and I was like, hey man, I'm sorry we haven't been able to link up. I feel kind of bad about it, or whatever my words were. And he's like, bro, we're adults, man. Time is a currency we're all short on. Don't worry about it. I mean, fair, but
doesn't alleviate the way you feel about it.
Not really. And it's not just him. I mean, there's other people. You're one of them. Where
Shucks.
I'm looking at all the people who have encouraged me, supported me, sustained me, tolerated me, and and it's like I struggle to find a meaningful way to honor that relationship and to give that back, and within all of my means, whatever they might be. And it's like, well, we're running out of time.
Well, I mean, what if you've already done that?
What if I've already run out of time?
No, what if you've already contributed back with not so much just time, but just in general, like you've already contributed back to the friendships you feel you seem to owe something to. And maybe you don't owe anything at all.
Well, I guess it's not. You're not supposed to have a counter in friendships. You're not supposed to keep score.
Yeah, it's really unhealthy for him. That's for sure.
In friendships, and I try not to, but I'll admit it. A lot of times I feel like I fell down somewhere. It's like today I feel like, not literally today, but you just wake up and you're like, man, I feel like I fell down today,
Right.
and I feel like I failed everybody, and then so you start pinging all your the dots on your network of support. Hey, I need encouragement. Hey, I need you to listen while I complain. Hey, I need you to whatever the support is, you go out looking for
Right.
that you need. Whether, and you might not even know what it is you need somebody to offer you to support you,
Sure.
and that's what I struggle with. And you and I have talked about that. And I'm like, well, I needed whoever. Well, what did you want them to say to you? I don't know. I don't know what I wanted. It's like that, when I was struggling with turning 40.
Yeah.
And I was at Mother's house, and I wanted to have a whole what about turning 40 conversation. And Daddy was the only one in the room that would give me the space to talk.
Right.
He was the only one that was willing to
Hear you out.
hear me,
Yeah.
to witness me. And and he kind of prodded me with that same question. He was, it wasn't in a meanness, but he was like, well, what, in a way, it was like, well, what do you want people to say to you? And I don't know what that answer is. I don't know what I need people to say to me, because I still haven't really decided how I feel about turning 40. And I'm still struggling with it. And it's like, some days it's like, oh, well, the conventional wisdom is, oh, well, it's just another day. Well, yeah, technically that's true.
Grandpa definitely had that idea.
Grandpa had that idea. It is just another day. Why are you celebrating your birthday? Because we want to honor the passage of time, that we hit a milestone, and that our life has more intrinsic value than maybe it really does.
Right.
We assign an emotional value to things, whether they really exist or not. And we do the same thing with time. Why do you celebrate your anniversary with your spouse? Why do you honor that anniversary? And maybe there's people that don't.
Right.
Maybe there's people that, oh, it's just another day. It's just another expense. It's just another obligation. And if you feel that way about it, that's a whole other series of questions that maybe we should sit down and talk about. Because that's a compelling statement on how you feel about things.
Right.
And I'm not going to go into whether that's good, bad, or otherwise, because I don't know what everybody else's relationship is, and that's not really what I'm driving at anyway. But we assign a value to things. We want to honor the passage of time. We want to honor the milestones, or whatever you want to call it. And maybe it's just in my head, but all right, 40, you're middle aged. You're a middle aged man.
Right.
You're at the halfway point, headed towards the other side. Now, if somebody said to me empirically, dude, you're going to live to be 118 years old, then my life is not half over. I've still got another 19 years before my life is half over if I am absolutely going to live to be 118.
You think you'll make it to 100? Just, if anything unforeseeable doesn't happen to you in the meantime.
If nothing gets in my way, if absolutely nothing impedes me, it's possible. Because, we grown in dykes, we kind of got a long shelf life. All of my great aunts lived into their 90s.
Okay.
Grandpa had the toxic encephalopathy not shut him down. He was I believe 2 months away from turning 90 himself.
Oh, okay.
He was about 2 months away from his 90th birthday before.
The unforeseen events unfolded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, Dick Van Dyke's going to turn 100 the day before I turn 4. His birthday is the day before mine, and he'll be 100 this year. I don't know what the quality of life for someone who lives to be 100 is going to look like by the time I might get there. But let's just say nothing gets in my way and I live to be 100, or I live to be 118. Or I live longer than Abraham. Maybe I am functionally immortal and I cannot die.
We're getting really deep into this rabbit hole right now.
I am Connor McLeod of Clan McLeod and I cannot die. Christopher Lambert, you have no idea how big a fan I was of yours when I first started watching Highlander. My thanks to you, sir. But so you do this thing where you mark all these passages of time and you honor all these milestones, and we want our lives to have value. We want them to be meaningful. We want them not only to other people but to ourselves. To let the universe. I was here. This was my time. This was my place. Etch it in stone that I will not be forgotten to the sand. And that's not a selfish goal. Now, the way you go about doing that might have bad connotations or it might have good connotations. Some people want to be remembered for very, very good things, and some people don't care if they're remembered for very, very terrible things.
Well, some people want to be some people want to be remembered for the terrible things that they did, because at the very least they are remembered.
Yeah. So, to me, strike your name from the history books until nobody remembers it.
Yeah.
As far as I am concerned, they can take James Holmes, I think, the guy that shot all those people with the Dark Knight Rises in Colorado.
Remember that?
They can just scratch his name from the history books.
Yeah.
Don't honor him. Don't remember him. Remember the people he hurt.
Absolutely.
Remember their names. As far as I'm concerned, I never want to hear the name Ed Gein again. Which unfortunately I have to, because the love of my life loves true crime documentaries. And she loves watching Lifetime movies. So just about every night I fall asleep to The Girl in the Attic or The Girl in the Basement or
wherever she's hiding in this episode.
Not even hiding, being kept there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm with you now.
And I can't swing for that. And I will watch action movies. And I will watch horror movies. And I will watch all the media, all the different genres. But when it is nothing but abuse and torture and
entrapment, slavery, whatever you want to call it.
And there's no light at the end of those tunnels.
Yeah.
There's no light down that road, and I don't want to honor the monsters, and I don't want to have to remember them. I don't want to have to know their names. I would rather remember the people they hurt, and that I have to bear witness to their stories, because they can't forget their monsters' names.
Right.
That's a suffering, thankfully, I've not really had to
endure. Absolutely.
But I don't even want to say it's an interesting problem because it's not interesting. It's terrifying.
Right.
But that these are the feelings, and it just contributes to my feeling tired. Tired.
Right.
No, I don't want to do all that stuff today. I am tired. I don't want to have to deal today. I am tired. I would love to sell this house and move back in with my folks some days, but my mother would encourage me to do everything I could to maintain the independence that I have now.
Well, it took her long enough to get you out.
Yeah. I moved out very briefly when I was 22. I was out for about 4 months, and then I had to go back home. And then when I was 27, I moved out. I went to Indy. I was at Indy for about a year, and then I came back home. I was home for almost a year. It was probably about a year, and then in that year, Grandpa passed away, and Daddy asked me sometime after that if I wanted to take on the house. And I've had the house for 10 years myself. And so I don't know, life gets harder. Responsibilities just get greater and greater and greater. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the solution is other than just more money or upend all of the things that, such dramatic sweeping change that you wouldn't even recognize the life you had a month ago.
Right.
It's like, well, start making drastic life decisions, start handing down edicts, and in my glorious booming voice, say it with your chest. That's what we're talking about here. Those apparently the only two answers. There's no middle ground. There's no room for compromise, and the help needs help.
Right.
Everybody I turn to, like, can I have some more? They need help.
Right.
We're all struggling right now. But all that aside, talk about do you have other feelings? Do you have something you want to anything out of pocket that you might have been feeling that you?
I mean, I think you've pretty well touched on just about everything that I could have mentioned. Short on time, short on money, short on emotions, short on energy to deal sometimes and process things the way I feel is most appropriate. Find myself looking back and not necessarily being satisfied with the way I handled a situation here or there because of the tiredness, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, it is that time of year. It always gets tight just because you got the extra expenses, you got the time you're putting into work instead of being home with the family like you want to be for this time of year, but got to do what you got to do. So
if you don't go to work, you don't have money to do all those things.
Yep.
And you have to do them for so many people.
no matter how many times you say that, it just doesn't click to the kids. They want to know why I can't just stay home all the time, spend all day with them. I'm like, well, honey, it's a scheduled work day. There's nothing I can do about that.
Look, the only thing that kids understand right now is 6, 7. All
Six,
right,
seven.
That's all they get. 6, 7. That's the only thing they understand, and they don't even know what it means.
Chad, are you seeing this?
And anybody that is tuning in from outside our social circle, something kind of cool to talk about is that Chris lives a little in the Eaton area. I live in Muncie, in Indiana, and Hugh Jackman has been in town quite a bit recently.
A lot of appearances lately.
Oh yeah, and he was just in town, I guess, last week promoting the movie that he premiered over at the movie theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was there. He was signing autographs, taking pictures, meet and greet, with students, with professors over, because his girlfriend is actually an adjunct professor over at Ball State.
Okay.
I don't know what she teaches, but she is an adjunct professor at Ball State. So that's what the connection is. Now, I don't know what the conversation was, where it's like, babe, the university is asking me to ask you for a favor, if you can kind of give the university and the town kind of a shot in the arm and,
right,
do something to help. But it's kind of cool. But that's where the connection is. And he's made a few appearances in town lately. One of them, he actually came into town to visit that one officer's memorial service.
Blake. Yeah.
Blake, whatever his name is.
Yep.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That that he took time out of his busy schedule to come here and.
Tragic story too.
Yeah. Shit.
I believe he was just going to help a trucker on the side of the road.
And he got hit by another truck.
Got hit, yeah.
And so he's been in town. He was in town for that, and he was in town because he was premiering his new movie out at the movie theater. And it kind of makes me wonder how many other times has he just kind of secretly come into town and nobody knew it.
Right. Just to visit her. Just
to see her before she was like, hey, if you're going to, the next time you come into town, can you stop by the university over there and kind of say hi to everybody and do a little bit of a meet and greet and a laying on of hands and let's all get together and sing Kumbaya or whatever,
Maybe that's just his style, though.
I'm sure he is a super cool hang, dude. I would love to sit down with him and just not even talk about big things, but just shoot the fat. You know what I mean? And having said that, I got to tell you about like the social fantasy that I had after I realized he was in town, because it's right down the street.
I was gonna say, it's a hop, skip, and a jump from your house.
It is less than a mile from this spot.
Yeah.
And so, I had it because when I first started getting the idea to do this, and I was slowly putting it together before you came on board, okay, one of the things that Josh actually recommended to me was to go down to, I would imagine, the Letterman building, the telecommunications building, because they have students there who are constantly looking to get involved with stuff like this for free and get credit for it
at the university. Okay.
In their class.
Yeah.
It's like, well, go to the Letterman, go to the telecommunications building and ask if you can, use one of the students to help you put your podcast together. And so, flash forward, and I all of a sudden, I'm like, for almost no reason whatsoever, other than it's just like, well, it'd be really cool if this happened. I have this social fantasy where, like, I've gone over to the Letterman building, and for whatever reason, we strike out over there. Okay. And it's just like they don't have, everybody's got a project, or this isn't the right building, or whatever. And so I just walk outside and I sit down and I've got my sad puppy dog face on. It's like, well, damn it. I was really hoping to be able to put something together that somebody would be able to point me in the right direction or give me some kind of shot in the arm. And all of a sudden, Hugh Jackman just walks out of the building and he's got his entourage with him. And, and he's just swarmed by people. And he looks over and he sees me just sitting there on a bench. And because he's probably a super cool guy, he's like, well, what's that all about? or in an Australian accent, or however he sounds in his own head. And I'm not gonna make fun of his accent, try to do a whole Hugh Jackman impression here, but so he's like, well, you all right, mate, or however, damn it, I did it anyway.
You did it anyway.
I did it anyway. But so he walks over to him and he's like, are you all right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, Mr. Jackman, sir, and I'm just like, well, what's going on? Tell me, you seem upset. What's going on? So I tell him the whole thing, and I'm just like, sir, I'm just, me and my friend are trying to get this podcast off the ground. I'm just kind of struggling to figure out a meaningful way to put it all together. And I'm at a loss. I just struck out in there, and now I'm trying to figure out what to do next. And he's like, well, tell me about it. What's it all about? What's your podcast about? What do you? And so we have a whole conversation, and he's just never looking at his watch. And Charlie's like, dude, Hugh, come on, we sit there for probably 20 minutes, and he gets so because he's such a cool guy, he gets so engaged. He's like, all right, well let me see what I can do to help. Tell my driver what your address is, and we'll go back to wherever you do your podcast, and you and I can sit and chat, and we'll see what happens.
All right.
And so all of a sudden, Hugh Jackman comes back to my house, and and I'm trying to get you on the horn, like, Chris, whatever you're doing, set it down, get your computer, get over here now. Hugh Jackman is walking through my front door, right?
Hope you got some PTO for this.
Quit today, man. This is the shot in the arm we need. This is it. Like, Hugh Jackman is gonna blow this thing wide open.
Right.
Our first special guest today, folks. You won't believe it. And somehow you know that would bring people, but there would still be people who are like, no, it's deep fake. He is AI Hugh Jackman in somehow.
Yeah. Nobody can believe reality anymore because of AI.
How do I prove that Hugh Jackman is literally sitting at my dining room table next to me, and it's just such a super cool day?
Maybe I should take like the phone and rotate it around you guys so they can see it's real.
No wires.
Yeah.
Clink, clink. Well, he'd clink because his bones are covered with adamantium. So.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
You're wearing your Wolverine shirt.
I am, and that's the only reason Hugh Jackman would be talking to you, because you're wearing your Wolverine shirt while you're sitting there on the bench.
Hugh Jackman would talk to me because I draw people to myself. They see me and they're like, gotta talk to that guy.
Because you're just such a bright star.
No, that's right. But so I have that that social fantasy, and anyway, while I was thinking about that, I started thinking about all the other cool things that Muncie can kind of say we have.
Right.
That it's like, oh, well, David Letterman went to college here. His name's on the telecommunications building.
Right.
Doug Jones went to college here, and if you don't know who that is. He is like the king of prosthetics in Hollywood right now. Anytime you see some like gaunt monster in a movie that he's like real scrawny and yet grotesque in a way, he is usually the one inside that makeup. They call him the king of prosthetics. He's in a lot of Guillermo del Toro movies. He played Abe Sapien in Ron Perlman's Hellboy movies, and he does a lot of that work.
Okay.
And he also went to college at Ball State.
Gotcha.
And I knew this, but I forgot it. But there's an episode of the X-Files that takes place out at Southside Salvage, and apparently there's an episode of Supernatural that takes place in Muncie.
I didn't know that.
Bob Ross did his show in Muncie, and that's why they have the Bob Ross experience out there at Minnetrista.
Yeah, okay.
Jim Davis is from Muncie. Yep. Garfield was I can't say empirically that Garfield was created in Muncie, but Jim Davis is from Muncie,
Right.
and I believe that Paws Incorporated is based in Muncie. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you know, leave it. Leave us a comment. But as far as I know, Paws Incorporated is run out of Muncie,
Right.
and my uncle Donnie actually knows somebody that used to cut Jim Davis's grass.
Okay.
Well, he knew him. Uncle Donnie has since passed away, but at least that's the story I always heard, was that he either cut Jim Davis's neighbor's grass so he could like see into his yard or whatever, or
It was his grass directly.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the story, was that somehow like Uncle Donnie either knew Jim Davis or he knew somebody that knew Jim Davis.
Right.
I don't remember. That's been that's been years worth of conversations ago, but and
Toby Keith mentions Muncie in
yeah,
his song.
he mentions it in his song.
We also had Bonzi Wells.
I forgot about the two of them.
I'll say great musician and great basketball player, both.
Skylar told me that Parks and Recreations, the TV show,
Yeah.
that they mention Muncie.
Well, it's because it's from
They're
Shawnee, Indiana, or something
yeah,
like that.
Shawnee, Indiana, or something like
yeah.
that. And they mention Muncie all the time, and the city map in that is actually just the map of Muncie flipped upside down.
No, it is not.
That's what Skylar's telling me.
I'm gonna have to look at this. I've watched that series a couple times. It's a great show.
I struggle with that mockumentary workplace comedy like The Office. Like
Office is gold.
I watched it a little bit, and I was there for Jim and Pam more than I was there for anything else.
I think most of the audience was.
I could never get into that workplace comedy thing, and that's probably why I never tried to watch Brooklyn
99
or whatever it's called, Brooklyn 99.
I'm not even sure. I haven't watched any of it.
I haven't either, because it just seems like another one of those kind of mockumentary workplace.
That's the police officers, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember
It's got Andy Samberg in it.
Yeah, him. Love him. Primarily for what The Lonely Island has presented us with in the musical industry.
Jesse Eisenberg looking so-and-so.
Don't even get on the whole Jesse Eisenberg thing right now.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to go down there, but so it started a whole conversation about cool things that Muncie could say for ourselves, and he threw out a few that I didn't know, and that was one of them.
Right. Was
that Parks and Recreations thing? And it's like, cool. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But minus the year I've lived in it. I lived in Indy. I've lived in the Muncie Yorktown area my whole life, and I know people that have moved away who are like, there's nothing in that town. There's no whatever.
Right.
And I'm just like, I mean, all that may be true, but this is. And I don't go out there and just like really invest in the community and do a lot of community things, but it's like, this is my home, dude.
Right.
I'm not leaving other than to go on vacation, and I don't know where I'm going to go on vacation, but I'm going to come home.
Yep.
This is where my grandparents are all buried. Granted, Uncle Donnie and Uncle Ricky are out in Hartford City, but
that's not that far.
That's not that far.
Cost of living is manageable around here versus other states, other cities.
It's more manageable. I don't know if it's manageable, but it's more manageable than other places.
It's fair.
And my family is here. My folks are here.
Right.
My niece and nephews are here. And I'm not leaving that for anything. I mean, maybe we take off and Hollywood says, hey, come do your thing here. I'm like, no, I'm going to do my thing here. You come to me.
Right.
I'll take a plane out there and visit, but I'm not moving to LA. maybe I can be the next Hugh Jackman thing. No, let's bring it to Muncie. Let's bring more in. Come on, bring it over here, everybody. There's some good stuff here.
Right.
I guess we do that Iron Man.
Competition or
We do
whatever.
that Iron Man competition here and have for a few years now, and people come from all over the world to
Participate?
participate. That's what Daddy was saying this morning at breakfast.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I knew they did the event, but I just didn't know it was that well known.
I figured it was, the Tri-County area
Yeah.
max.
Kind of like the walk a mile.
So the fact that people are apparently coming in from all over is wild to me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And and I'll admit it, I'm not constantly going out there trying to get involved in community projects, but this is still my hometown.
Right.
I am content to live here because this is where all the things and people that I love are.
Right.
And if I can't surround myself with that, then what am I really doing?
Right.
Go out to build a mansion out in Nebraska somewhere, build one out in California, get a penthouse in New York and just fill it with all the empty things that aren't what I love.
Yeah.
Just because I'm rich enough to do it. No, sir. I will be John Mellencamp says it. I was born in a small town. That's probably where they'll bury me. And that is real. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely.
I almost went down a whole path right there that I no business going down. I felt it right here. I started to see it in my mind's eye, and it just about brought me to tears, and it's weird that happens, right? Because those are also feelings,
Right.
and I think anybody that watches long enough will realize that I worship the ground my folks walk on, and as I said, my daddy is Superman. Shit, he's better than Superman. My mother is a force of nature, and I would be hard pressed to try to distill all the love that I have for them and for anybody that I love into just a couple of stories.
Right.
Because none of that is going to make sense to anybody out there. They're not going to see the things that I saw, the things that I see, and that is one of those relationships where I struggle to say I don't feel like I earned it. You remember you and I had that conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's a scene the children's movies will pull it right out of you sometimes. They will ruin you.
There's not a Disney movie that doesn't have me in tears by the end of it.
Oh, I can think of plenty of Disney movies. I don't care about. Let me not swear there, but I can think of plenty of Disney movies I don't care about. But the movie Home.
Yeah.
About the aliens, and at the end of the movie, he's talking to all of the
Boov.
Mm-hmm. And he's reflecting on
The relationship he had with Tip.
The relationship, and he says human beings, they care about each other in a way we don't care about each other. Yeah. And I made friend with a human's girl, and she even cares about me. And I've done very little to earn that. And every time I think about that, it haunts me.
Right.
Like, that is heavy.
Well, and, the emphasis on him changing colors while he says it really describes the emotion behind it. You're not just feeling it, you're seeing it as
Yeah.
well. Not just a tear rolling down the face. It's his whole body changes the color to match his feeling.
I feel like he turns. I forget what the color associations are, but by the time he gets, like, he says it with a great deal of shame.
I want to say he was orange, wasn't he? Orange or green by the time he got done saying
Because
that?
he's normally purple.
Right.
And I wanted to say I think he turns purple, like purple is associated with shame, but I can't remember. And anyway, I watched that scene enough times, and it brought me to tears enough times. And I was in therapy. I'm still in therapy, but I was in therapy, and I was talking to my therapist about that.
I gave up looking for it. I don't know how to describe that in Google.
We'll find it. We'll attach it to this video later at some point. But so I was talking to my therapist about that, and I struggle with feelings of inadequacy in a lot of my relationships. And it's really in my own head more than it is anything anybody else is trying to communicate to me. And and Joel's trying to walk me through all this while I'm explaining it to him. And what he said was, you don't earn a parent's love. And I don't know, it's a simple enough idea.
You not feel that that's true?
You don't earn a friend's love. And it's a simple enough idea, but I don't know, I can't help but wonder if there's a certain part of it that's true, because you watch the movie The Toy with Richard Pryor, and and the spoiled brat little kid has basically turned Richard Pryor into his toy because he has no friends.
Right.
And he's just dragging him through all kinds of chaos the whole movie. And because Richard Pryor needs a paycheck, he's put up with it for a long time. And I don't remember all the finer points of the plot, but eventually at one point he's had enough. And he's like, you don't buy a friend, Eric. Or whatever his name is. He's like, you don't buy a friend. You earn a friend. And that makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, I'm going to talk to you because you're right here. I've tried to do some kind of good in your life. Now, I guess how you would measure that is at your discretion, but sometimes I feel like there's very little I have done to earn your friendship. And I know, that was part of the conversation you and I had at the time.
Right.
Because I was using those two things to explain the feelings I was having then to you.
Right.
And again, that's probably my own feelings of inadequacy. Projecting.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of friendships run on respect. I have respect for you and the way you perceive things and your opinions and things like that, and you have respect for me, and that's something that has to be earned. You know what I mean? We don't just automatically go out necessarily. I mean, some people do, but not everybody just goes out and has respect for the next man, regardless of their feelings, emotions, opinions, whatever the case may be. So,
I don't know. I just interrupted you.
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was
the
getting lost in my thought anyway.
the relationships are different, right?
Right.
Because the relationship even between your parents, but the relationship that you have with your parents is intrinsically different than the kinds of relationships that I would have with you,
Absolutely.
or the relationship that I have to my fiance.
Yeah.
They are just different, and I didn't choose to be born. My parents chose to have me.
Right.
But if I have to earn a friend, there is something in my head that says I have to earn. If you have to earn friendship, if you have to earn respect, there's something in your head that says you have to earn love, or at least it does in there,
Right.
and it does in here, and that's the struggle that I can't seem to navigate, at least not black and white lights in a light switch way, where it's like, oh, I felt this way before, now I feel another, and there's no going back and forth and just, oh, I had a bad day, so I guess that means that my mother doesn't care about me or something like that.
Right.
But so you navigate as best you can, and you hope that you are doing good in all these lives that are attached to yours.
Right.
And I'd like to believe that I have, but I being poor, I being without generous means and resources, I have very, and that's saying your only value is how much you can give. If you look at it that way, you're saying your only value is how much you have to offer somebody else.
Right.
How much of your resources and of your time, not of your time, of your money. Whatever, that as long as you can offer that, you have value. And people have value way beyond just what they have the means to physically provide.
Right.
And that's what my folks have been trying to tell me. It's a lesson I just can't seem to tangibly get my hands around and hold on to.
Right.
Because the wiring in my own head is messed up. And that's probably for a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with them, because my parents have loved me and supported me and all those other things for almost 40 years without fail, without compromise, without asking very much in return. And you spend, you get a lion's share of their love and their respect and their support, and then you offer whatever you have and hope that the two things, not even 6-7, but you hope those balances are right.
Maybe you're just the only one checking the scale to make sure they are.
I know that I want everyone that I love, that I admire, that I respect, to know that I love them and admire them and respect them. That if I've communicated anything to anyone in 40 years, that I have communicated that.
Right.
And if that's the only thing that I can do, then I want to at least make sure I did that. That's my milestone. That's my mark of the passage of time.
Right.
That's my birthday. And That's the balance. Those are the feelings,
Yeah.
and they're not easy because I can feel it right here. I'm an actor. I got to keep everything right at the surface. You know, got a lot of balls in the air. You really cannot do this anymore because these damn kids have stolen it.
Immediately going to 6-7.
It's just 6-7 now. They've co-opted it into the whole 6-7 thing. I love my babies though. I love you both.
Times are changing.
Times were tough back in 25.
Oh man, I can't wait to play this video another year.
I wonder if I spent half of it with my mouth open like this. Just I don't even realize that I'm just gawking with my mouth hanging wide open the entire time like a goober.
So that's why Hugh Jackman was asking you if you're all right. Ah!
Ow.
Oh my days.
I'm pretty sure I just broke my damn bobblehead doll.
I'm pretty sure you did too. There's no bueno.
Hell, he just fell behind that damn bookcase right there. Ow. You just caught all of that. Are you happy now, Internet?
I know I am.
Well, we've gone down enough rabbit holes, and we've done enough talking about feelings. And really, we covered all the finer points I had in my head as I was trying to put this episode together.
Good.
So amazingly, we did it all, and hopefully we did it in a way that is meaningful and compelling and not just the ramblings of a madman. And if they are, hopefully you still enjoyed that. But
For any of our viewers that might be in their 40s, 50s, 60s.
we're going to need a stunt team if that's going to keep happening.
You
Damn
have
it,
any
that hurt.
good words of wisdom that aren't the traditional cliches of what growing up
we
does to
don't-
you.
We don't have time for prepared remarks. You're going to get everything straight from the heart because I believe that's how we should communicate. And I that came from an odd place, but that is my one piece of wisdom, at least today, that I will offer. Speak from your heart. But as always, it's been a pleasure. Come back and see us.
Till next time.